It's been so long since I've set up the camera, I kind of forgot how to do it. And I keep reaching over here to adjust all the options, and I'm such an idiot because it syncs up to your phone and you can do it on your phone without having to do all this. And I tend to have the camera upside down because it shakes less, because all the weight is kind of hanging down instead of up top. So there I am trying to decode where everything is when it's upside down, but I could just have it on my phone. You join me in my now Marrakesh brown M3 with the glorious Recaro seats inside. I'm almost out of fuel. This is often a problem around here. There's no super unleaded for about 10 miles, maybe more. And yesterday I popped out to run an errand just locally, and I decided to take the M3. And then when I finished the errand, I was like, well, I should really get some fuel because I'm kind of running out. So I drove the 10 miles through the country to the nearest town. And this is the only time I've ever done this in my entire life. And pulled up, checked my pockets, and realised I left my wallet at home. So I had to like crawl along. And like right now, I'm running on fumes. And I've got to make it 7 miles. Range anxiety, that's what they call this. Let's talk about these seats. I'm trying to be... I don't want to keep using the whole cliche words, oh, they're amazing. It's amazing. No, but they are. So, in my old seats, they were old seats, right? So it's from a car that's 17 years old and had multiple owners. I'm a heavy guy. I think it's had some heavier owners because when you went over bumps, the seat would bounce you. It would bounce you, and it would squeak and kind of go whack, 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 whack every time, like a pogo stick. It was really annoying, and it made the car feel more bouncy than it really was. I didn't really think about that. I was changing the seats because the seats were very worn out, and the squeaking really irritated me. But also that from a safety point of view, I wanted something that would hold me securely. It's always been a gripe of mine on almost every car I've owned. And I would say the only car that's really satisfied me on the stock seat situation would be a Golf GTI Mark 5 and Mark 6. The Mark 7 seems to have less bolstering for some reason. Every time I got into my Mark 6 GTI, I felt really, held in, nice and tight, and it just fills you with confidence. It was a good feeling. And they were lovely seats too, right? The ones with the tartan trim, and it was still comfortable. And I was a big guy, and there was still room for some, to move around in. And wonderful, wonderful seats. Though the Mark 7 still has good seats, but the Mark 6 was the perfection. These seats, as you may have seen in my last video, I was concerned I wouldn't fit in them because I'm a big guy. I don't think this is a positive thing, but I lost a lot of weight over the past couple of weeks, and not in a healthy way. It wasn't by choice, just due to what happened, and I've had to bury my mum, and I've had to be going through her house and throwing out all my things, and it had a bad effect on me. And I wasn't sleeping, and I wasn't eating. I was in quite a dark place, which is why there hasn't been many videos. And I lost probably about 8 or 9 kilos, possibly even 10. You wouldn't have seen, maybe in the last video you could see I'm a lot slimmer. I've put on a bit more weight since. yeah, I was really worried I wouldn't fit in these, because I can't fit in the some of the Porsche GT like cup seats. But then when I went to Dubai a few months ago and I sat in the latest and greatest GT3, they I actually fit, and that was at my full fat self, and that just was like, right, that's it, that seals the deal. I am getting bloomin' Recaro pole positions. And I pulled the trigger and I ordered them. Now, I was going to go with Corbu, which are basically the copies, but a little nagging voice at the back of my mind wouldn't let me, because it's a copy product, it's a cheap product, right? I mean, I'm sure it's fine, okay? I'm not trying to knock it. It's phenomenal good value for money, and if you're on a budget, it's a great seat for a track car. But this is more predominantly a road car, and safety is the most number one thing, and you don't want it in the back of your mind. You don't want to be doubting what you're in at the back of your mind, okay? It's just eating away at you. And with a Recaro seat and a Recaro fitting gear, you know that it's safe. You know it's been tested. They're a brand and a reputation, and they're quite proud. And it's all made in Germany, not made in the Far East. Not that there's anything wrong with being made in the Far East, but it does make a difference. Engine's still not warm, but have a little bit of fun. Oh, the roads here are so bad. We're in Kent at the moment. We just crossed the border, and Kent has like the worst roads, what this area does. Which I find really funny, because they've got like the most amount of investment for property and new builds, but none for infrastructure. Right, anyway, so I would have been perfectly happy with the standard pole positions, which you can get in like Velour for 600, 700 quid each, and I would have been happy with that. But then I saw these, and I can't remember where I saw them. I think it was at the SEMA show. I saw a couple of videos on them in the SEMA show in Las Vegas, and they looked so cool. And it was to celebrate the 40th anniversary, and they made these limited edition pole position seats. 300 are being made. What I should have really thought about was the price, because they're like over double the price of a standard pole position. And I think my mindset at the time was, you know, F it, go for it. And I just took a chance, found the distributor for Recaro in the UK, popped them an email and asked them if they could get some. And a week or two later, they told me yes, they can. Put a deposit down, and that was it. And it was a long wait. They had to be shipped in, and it took a while. And then other things happened in my personal life, as you know, and it just kind of got delayed. Everything got delayed. I mean, it was terrible timing. The car wasn't finished, and I kept delaying that. And because I kept saying to the guy, you know, don't worry about finishing the car because of all this my stuff going on, he started slacking on the car and left me in a situation I'm in kind of now, where he didn't do enough. And then the deadline was coming along to get the seats put in, and then he was pushed to finish it all, and he rushed and didn't, and that's another story. Anyway, so this is the shortest drive, by the way, from my place to get fuel. And bear in mind, I've edited this down. It's quite a long way. Now, I don't mind, because the roads are pretty awesome, other than that section there with the I need a 4x4. But it's a long drive, and it used to be a problem for my old man as well, because his cars needed super unleaded, and this was the closest place you could go. And we've had a few moments where we've nearly run out of fuel, and I am now just living the same life 25 years later. Oh man, do I feel old. Can you smell that? That's me. It's pretty strong. Neighbours must love me every time I do a cold start on this. Yeah, I'm going to be putting the original front cat section back in, mostly because I went completely deaf on the way to Leicester when I had the seats put in. It was so bad, which is so funny because driving it around it's absolutely fine, but once you hit 70 or 60 plus, it is really bad. It's like having a motorbike helmet with lots of ventilation and no earplugs and a very windy day. You just got this constant hum, and even if a passenger we can't hear each other. You literally have to shout. And the only way to get around it, and this is ridiculous, okay, the only way to get around it is to do over 80 miles an hour. Now try explaining that to a police officer. At 90, it's gone. 80 plus starts to subside. 90, all gone. You can have a conversation. It's nice and quiet. Yeah, and that's just not realistic, is it? In this day and age with their smart cameras and their hidden cameras and yeah. So no, I basically just went deaf. I really actually think I did lose some hearing. It's not good, and that is all down to the special cat exhaust I have that makes all the awesome pops and bangs and the flames, and I'm gonna have to get rid of it. And there's also another reason why I'm gonna do that. I've lost that initial torque surge that you have off idle. It will go flat and then instantly come back again, and it's not the Vanos because that's all been redone. It is purely that section of exhaust that's done it. I know, because ever since having it, it's done it. So, and that's not acceptable, especially in town, where this spends a lot of its life, and you just lose that oomph off the line. Really have lost torque, and this has been specially mapped by Evolve as well. It's all to do with exhaust scavenging. The stock section is very clever. It's been designed to pretty much get the best out of the engine, and us silly sausages, we take it off thinking we can improve on it, and maybe you do at a certain high RPM. You probably are making 1 or 2 extra horsepower, but you're losing more than 1 or 2 horsepower and foot-pounds right down low, where this car desperately needs it. It needs that surge because it doesn't have much down there. So fine if you're an all-out track guy and you're constantly over 8,000 RPM, but for me, when I'm doing this in town, it's no good at all. It's unacceptable. Yeah, so super unleaded around in this part of the world, and in everybody's retired and has a blue badge world, it's very hard to find, because I guess if you're retired and you have a blue badge, you really have no interest in getting super unleaded, because it's doubtful that you have a fast car. That was naughty doing it, but otherwise it'll be a all bloody day. Alright, do you have super? Do we have super? Yeah, oh god, it's only 97. This thing purrs like a kitten. I had Matt the wizard turn off the that secondary air pump. So, about the seats. They are amazing. I did it again. That's very kind of him. They're really comfortable. Really comfortable for bucket seats. They fit me perfectly. So I'm bang on 6 foot. I have at the moment just under a 36-inch waist. I've got big thighs, big chunky frame. I mean, I am larger than I look. It's mostly because I've got a small face, so everyone thinks I'm smaller. No, I am a big guy. I'm chunky pretty much everywhere. You know, I've even got love handles too, and yet with this large frame, chest and shoulders, and you know, fairly wide hips and thighs, I fit in it like a glove, which is really good. I actually think if you were small, this wouldn't be for you because you'll be sliding around, but these fit me so well. And it's not even tight, it's just right. It fits me right. It's as if someone built this for me. It really is. Now I hear if you're taller than 6 foot, these aren't really much good to you. And the reason for that is your shoulders end up being too high. And I am borderline. Apparently 6 foot is like the limit. Ideally you need to be like 5'10". But I guess that depends on how long your legs are. I've got quite long legs. Yeah, you need to try them really. I did. So I knew I was okay. But I'd recommend you try test fit. Go to a seat shop. There are a few dotted around the country. I can't think of the top of my head, other than the one in Leicester that I went to. But yeah, I'm pretty much the limit, and it just fits me perfectly. I have the seat tilted up the front like this. I like the way it kind of raises my thighs. It's more comfortable for long journeys. And I did a long drive in this. You know, I spent about 5 hours in them, and you know, I had a slight ache, but probably the same ache I would got out of standard seats. The standard seats in these are pretty naff, to be honest. I don't find them all that comfortable, so that was quite impressive. Really, bucket seats aren't supposed to be comfortable, and you shouldn't be driving them 4 or 5 hours at a time. It would give you serious backache. With these, not really an issue. So one of the things I was really surprised with, I mean, the comfort is great, but the feel, I can feel the car. I can feel everything. It's really weird, and not feel as in every rattle, and it's not like that kind of feel, but you just feel more connected to the car. It's so strange, and it's just it's nice. It's a good stiff. Yeah, so you can feel everything, but there is give in these seats, and so it's not so bad. So that was a car detailing place, pretty much the only one that exists in this area, and he's going to correct a lot of the paint mistakes that Ralph, my painter, has made. He's a painter, but he's not very good at polishing and, well, doing anything really to do with cleaning. So there's a lot of marks, scratches, really bad polishing marks, swirls, and a lot of the polish compound made its way into little crevices, which was pretty bad. And he's going to fix them all and make the car look beautiful again. It's so small. The most important thing is all the rust and corrosion was done. It's gone. And I don't know if I really went into how before, but the rust wasn't just buffed out and, you know, filled over. It was done properly. It was actually cut out, and you know, new bits of metal were welded in, and then, you know, as you've seen on other video, I'm not going to go into, I don't know what the terms are, but then they kind of sand it down and mold that to fit the rest of the body. You can't tell after it's painted. That rust is gone, and also it's been treated underneath with that special paint that they use. I don't have to worry about that no more. These seats are so cool. I tell you, every time I get in this car, it feels like an event. It feels like an event every time. The steering wheel has the Alcantara from the CSL, and it just makes you think of a race car. And then you get into the seat, and just getting into the seat, it feels like race car. And then when you're in the seat, race car. and just driving it around, everything you feel and touch, and the sounds, it sounds like, you know, a cup car. It's bloody brilliant. It's bloody brilliant. Oh, so much fun, this thing. It really is. I can't wait to get it all buttoned up, and it's nearly done. We're so close now, so close. I'm going to be going away for a week or two, but I'm going to try and get the next job done beforehand. So I have ordered the 4.1 motorsport gear set from BMW, and that's going to a very special person who specialises in rebuilding diffs for BMWs, and he's an ex-F1 mechanic, or is he still an F1 mechanic? I can't remember. It's like a side job. Anyway, he's based up in F1 County, which is Banbury, and he is going to make, he's literally built me, I've already done it, he's got a new diff, he's just waiting for the gear set to arrive. He's got a new diff for me, nice shiny new diff, and originally I was just going to rebuild the standard diff, and then I was going to put a wave track diff in it, but then I realised I am not Ayrton Senna, so I decided to keep the stock diff, and the stock diff is actually really, really good. It is very good. So all it needs is a fresh rebuild, but then I realised something, and I hear this from everyone online. So the 4.1 gears basically lower the final drive, so the top speed of this car, if it was really, really fast, would actually be close to 200 miles an hour. The gearing's that high. This car will never, ever, ever hit that in a million years. It'll do maybe at a push 180. This final drive brings it all the way down to a top speed of 186, which it still will never ever hit. Okay, so the gearing is still more than what the car is capable of. What that means is everything bumps up about 300 RPM, which I don't mind. That's fine, because it is very, it's overgeared. It really is, and that was probably to get past emissions and all the rest of the nonsense. And it makes for a very long gear, so when you're pulling on the car, it doesn't pull that hard because it takes forever to pull that gear. And the 4.1 gears change that. The 4.1 gears make it much shorter, so the gearing's shorter, so it flies through the gears much quicker, but it increases torque. And I forget why, but it's to do with the fact that you've messed with the final drive, you get a bump in torque. So it'll make the car much faster, which is nice. It's free power without having to put extra stress on the car. You're just bringing out more of what the car can already do. So I'm going to plonk that diff in, nice new diff, new gear set. And that'll be put in, and I think at that point it's down to me really. Am I going to go to Nürburgring with that setup, or am I gonna do a little bit more, which I've still got to go? I've still got the roll cage. See what I mean about stiffness? I've still got the roll cage and the brace, the rear brace to stiffen up the I don't know what they call it, but you know, the weakest thing of this car is the subframe. That's it, a subframe brace. So I've got a brace that goes on that, and I've also got something from a CSL to go in the front part of the engine that's made of carbon fibre. You know what that means. Oh, the brakes are good. I mean, it's the national speed limit, and it was an empty road with corners. Oh, this thing corners so good. Oh, and the seats just hold you in. What a car! What a car! So this is really just a vlog. I mean, I set out to review these seats more, but I ramble on too much, and I enjoy the car too much. But if you're thinking of changing the seats in any of your cars, and you're looking at fixed back seats, Recaro pole position all day, every day. It's got the style of a classic Recaro. You can't beat the look of these, right? They just have that look. And they come in loads of different finishes. Alcantara is a very nice finish. I do like. I've got Alcantara on this, and where you sit, it's lovely. It's nice when you lean to a corner. The whole seat just it's there for you as you roll, and you don't get that in a standard seat. You just kind of slip out, especially a full leather seat like I had. Squeak, 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 slip. Ugh. Funnily enough, it doesn't feel as aggressive now doing wide open throttle gear changes in a high SMG mode. It doesn't feel as bad with the Recaros in it. There's less. There was so much stuff going on with the original seats, so many connections, right? You've got multiple different brackets, some of which are a bit loose, and the cushions were quite soft and decrepit. So when you did change gear, there was a lot of stuff reacting to that gear change. I was like, it felt worse because you got more of a direct connection to the chassis, and because I'm using steel, and steel has a bit more suppleness to it than aluminium, it doesn't feel as bad. It's quite surprising. Okay guys, I'm going to end it here because my battery is going, and I think my SD card is going because I'm in 4K again. So yeah, just a vlog about everything. Next episode will be the diff. Also, I don't think I've uploaded the Recaro install yet, so no, that will be the next episode, and then the one after that will be the diff. I am driving my car and enjoying it every day. There's sunshine. It puts a smile on my face and cheers me up, which helps with everything else that's going on. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, share and subscribe, and thank you to my subscribers and the kind words you left on my previous video. Alright guys, take care, bye bye.